Here's my question. You hear win-win and it's words and it sounds nice and it's a win-win for everybody. Let's unpack that a little bit because my feeling is, whether it's literally in a sale or a negotiation for a contract, it's words. So you kind of make a declaration or you accept and acknowledge, I'm going to declare it a win, albeit something might have been exceeded, like ceded. You know what I'm saying? Can you say a little bit about that and how you bring your expertise into framing that up?
Yeah, so rather than win or lose, I like to just ask people, how does this help advance you toward your goals or not? And what I like to teach people to do is what I call a needs audit before they even get into a conversation with somebody else. And what's a needs audit is where I'm sitting down, and this is actually set the first phase of negotiation. It's not when I sit down with you to say, okay, how are we going to work together for this client? It's me sitting down with myself and saying, what do I need? Right? What are the problems I'm trying to solve, in my career? And when I'm thinking about my needs, I write down everything that I might need, tangible or intangible, before this particular negotiation, right? So thinking about if you're going in to negotiate a salary, right, you're thinking about first the tangibles, the things you can touch, see, or count, right? So it could be compensation, it could be title, it could be the budget or the resources you're going to get. And then you also really need to take count of the intangibles. Those are the values that drive us and that make our work life and our personal life worth living. So I might say, I like challenge. I like feeling as though I'm learning in every, engagement I do. I really value autonomy and collaboration. I want to feel like I'm working with somebody, not like I'm being spoken to. And once I have the results of my needs audit, which can only take a few minutes once you're used to doing this, then when I go in and we're talking together, I have a way to evaluate, is what Seth is talking about going to advance me toward my goals? It's a given that I want you to advance towards your goals because
Yeah.
that's how we get to a long-term, mutually fruitful partnership. And most negotiations, even if you think you're at the table with your quote unquote adversary, your adversary becomes your partner once that deal is done, right? So I'm thinking about, then I have a yardstick to look at everything. And I'm not thinking about, did I win or lose this point? Or did Seth win or lose this point? Did Seth advance toward his goals? And how much did I advance toward mine?
Yeah. As you're sharing that, what crosses my mind is emotional intelligence. And
Mm,
while we often still have an antiquated or an outdated view of negotiation, you're offering dare I say, a new paradigm or a modern one, but something that requires emotional intelligence, where an old model of thinking of what a win in negotiation or what you want to get versus, hey, look, I've audited it out, I've itemized, I've listed. These are absolute non-negotiables. These are ones that I can take under consideration, maybe make some accommodations on. It requires really connecting, looking in the mirror and saying, look, this is what's really important. It's not that it looks a certain way before I go in. And I don't know where I'm connecting the emotional intelligence with that, but it's somehow, do you see what I'm saying? You're the professor here. Help me land the plane.
yeah, I mean, I think what you're talking about is both with yourself, tuning out the noise of what other people think you should be going for or should be doing with your life. I think we've had long conversations about our career paths, and each of us got to where we are now because we were able to look in the mirror and say, what is it that I'm desiring for my life? What is it that most important to me? What kind of impact do I want to have? Not anybody else but me. And then I find, Seth, that the more I'm able to tune into myself
Yeah.
non-judgmentally and
Yeah.
understand what I need, the opposite is true. I'm then able to look at somebody else and try to understand, what do I think motivates them? What are the problems that are keeping them up at night? What are their goals? What do they need most? And then this way I can match make between what I'm offering and the problems they need solved.
No, that's a great distinction. And I think, I was calling it emotional intelligence, but it really is just being in tune with just getting that clarity. When I say simplify, I'm using the word simplify, not that these are simple things, but reducing it down to its core so
Yeah.
that there's not a lot of swirl and a lot of noise. That's maybe the emotional intelligence, or self-awareness might be the better language.